Take a deep breath for a moment and just feel the space you occupy, the air that enters and leaves your lungs. And what if the fact that you are here right now listening to my voice is not a coincidence? What if it's a resonance, an echo that your soul sent out into the universe and that has finally found its way back to you? Perhaps lately, reality has seemed different, strange, almost fluid, as if the edges of the world you believed to be so solid were beginning to dissolve. You may have felt a bit out of place, maybe even lonely, despite being surrounded by people, as if you were waking up from a long dream without fully recognizing the scene around you. I want you to know, in the deepest part of your being, you are not losing your way. On the contrary, this feeling, this unconventional perception of life is the sign. It is the subtle and powerful evidence that your quantum leap key has just been activated. It is not something you needed to find or deserve. It is something that has awakened because it was ready. Your own consciousness, in its longing for truth and connection, has magnetized this message, this moment, to you. In this very instant within your system, neural pathways that were dormant are beginning to fire in completely new sequences. It is a wiring of light igniting, allowing your perception to expand. What you are experiencing is not the end of a cycle. It is the activation of an entirely new consciousness. And I know that you may have spent so much time trying to manifest, trying to visualize, trying to fix what seemed broken inside of you, carrying a silent exhaustion from fighting so hard, only to see everything at times remain the same. But breathe a sigh of relief now, because the truth I want to share with you is this. This quantum perception emerging within your being is not an achievement. It does not respond to effort. It is a natural consequence, an activation. Imagine your consciousness as a musical instrument with very sensitive strings. Throughout your entire journey, every experience, every silent pain, every moment of surrender was subtly adjusting your vibration. It was tuning you. And now, without you needing to force the melody, your consciousness has reached a specific frequency threshold. A point of resonance where the veil between the visible and the invisible becomes thinner. This is precisely why the key didn't need to be found nor earned. It simply became active. It is not a prize the universe hands you at the end of the journey. It is your own essence that has finally blossomed at the right time. This is not a state you reach through force. It is a state that finds you when you finally stop fighting. It is the profound recognition that the door to a new reality was never locked. It was just waiting for you to remember that the key has always been a part of who you are. And what does this key, now active in your hands, truly open? What does it reveal? Herein lies one of the most liberating truths your soul has been waiting to hear. Our mind, trained for so long in the logic of the physical world, believes that a leap is always a movement, to go from a point A to a point B. But your new quantum perception will show you that it is not about going somewhere. It is about choosing where you already are. Imagine for a moment that your life is not a single road, but an infinite and silent art gallery. On every canvas, hanging in the eternity of the now, there is a version of you. The version that still carries the weight of an old pain. The version that has already healed and lives in peace. The version that feels stuck, and the version that flows in prosperity. All of them are equally real. All of them coexist in this very instant as possibilities vibrating in the field of consciousness. The quantum leap, then, is not the exhaustive effort of jumping from one painting to another. It is the sacred act of walking through this gallery and deciding with intention which work of art you will stand before. It is the recognition of which reality you, from this moment on, choose to observe. Infinite versions of you exist simultaneously, but this version, the one listening to me, is the one that has awakened to its ability to navigate. You are no longer a passive spectator. You are the consciousness that chooses which frequency to inhabit, and perhaps you ask yourself in silence, how do I know that this navigation has already begun? What are the signs that I'm not just imagining all of this? The signs, my dear being of light, are subtle, and your logical mind has been taught to dismiss them as mere coincidences. Think about the recent moments that gave you chills, with no plausible explanation. That overwhelming feeling of déjà vu, so intense that time seemed to fold in on itself, or maybe a strange encounter on the street, the gaze of a complete stranger who seems to know you from another life, a familiarity that both startles and comforts you. Your old perception would call this chance, but your awakened consciousness feels the deeper truth. These are not glitches in the matrix of reality. They are evidence. They are what we can poetically call quantum bleeds. But if each version of you exists in a painting in that infinite gallery of consciousness, quantum bleeds happen when the edges of these canvases become more permeable. It is a sign that your consciousness, now more fluid, is accessing multiple streams of probability simultaneously. You are not just looking at one painting, you are feeling the echo, the emotion, and the wisdom of the painting next to it. These supposed glitches in time do not come to confuse you. They come to confirm you. They are like winks from the universe, whispering that you are on the right path and that your perception is, finally, expanding to embrace the truth that you are multidimensional. And this expansion, this new way of perceiving the world, may for a time bring with it a profound sense of loneliness. It is almost inevitable. You look around and perhaps you see people rushing, immersed in the old rules of the three-dimensional world. Bound to what is solid, to what is possible, to what logic allows. And in your core, a new truth whispers, a truth that sometimes makes you feel out of place, that reality is a far more vast and malleable fabric than you were taught to believe. You are not alone in this feeling. Where others see a stone path fixed and unchangeable, you begin to catch glimpses of a river of potential. An infinite field of probabilities, like a shimmering mist, waiting only for the touch of your gaze, your conscious observation, to condense into a real experience. This is your distinct consciousness in action. While most remain asleep in linear thought, feeling at the mercy of circumstances, you are awakening to the fundamental quantum truth. Your consciousness does not just witness reality, it collapses it. It invites it to manifest. Do not be frightened by this difference. Do not judge your feeling as a mistake. What you are experiencing is the awakening of one who came at the vanguard of the evolution of consciousness. You are not broken for seeing a world that others cannot yet see. You are just remembering first. Your perception is not a flaw, it is your original nature. And this original nature of yours does not reveal itself linearly, like a slow sunrise. Often it erupts. It manifests in leaps. Quantum leaps in consciousness that are so sudden, so drastic, that the very fabric of time seems to bend. Think of a recent moment when the clock lost all meaning. Perhaps you were in a state of deep meditation or simply watching the rain fall, and a single minute stretched on like an entire hour, filled with a vastness of insights and feelings. Or the opposite. Hours passed in the blink of an eye, as if you had been transported from one point to another with no memory of the interval. Your logical mind might have called this a distraction or a loss of focus, but what you truly experienced was your consciousness experimenting with temporal flexibility. This is a sign that you are moving beyond linear time and beginning to access block time, a place where all moments coexist. Imagine linear time as a river, and you are navigating within it, only seeing the next bend. In these leaps of consciousness, you are momentarily lifted to the riverbank. And from there, for an instant, you can see the entire river at once. The past, the present, and the future, all existing in the same sacred landscape. These moments are not glitches. They are glimpses of your true freedom. They are your soul reminding you that you are not trapped in a single timeline. You are the observer of the entire river. And where else, besides these brief glimpses in the quiet of the day, does your consciousness train for this freedom? Where else does it navigate without the anchors of the physical body and the chains of linear time? The answer lies in the sacred territory you visit every night, the world of your dreams. Think about the quality of your dreams lately. Perhaps they have become more vivid, more lucid, more real. So full of color, emotion, and meaning that, for a moment upon waking, your awake life seems pale and lifeless in comparison. You are not imagining this intensity. Your dreams feel more vivid because, in many ways, they are. They are not just random fantasies created by your brain to process the day. They are visits. They are explorations of your pure consciousness as it journeys through alternate realities without the physical restrictions of your body. During your waking state, your consciousness is focused, filtered by the five senses. But at night, when the body rests, your essence is set free. It returns to its natural state, quantum, limitless. And in this state, it explores other potentials, rehearses futures, heals pasts, and accesses a wisdom that the rational mind often cannot contain. Do not dismiss your dreams as mere byproducts of sleep. They are your own private quantum laboratory, your sacred training ground. It is there that you remember your true, multidimensional nature, so that little by little you can bring that freedom and that magic into your waking life. And what happens when this navigational skill, trained in the silence of your dreams, begins to overflow into your waking life? What happens when your consciousness starts to feel what has not yet happened? Think of that sudden, inexplicable intuition, that knowing that arises from the silence, without any logical evidence. A certainty that made you change your path at the last second. An image of a future event that days later unfolded exactly as you felt it in your heart. This is not a psychic ability in the old mystical sense of the word. It is not about predicting the future like a fortune teller. It is something much more elegant, much more natural. It is the blossoming of your quantum awareness. It is your ability to sense events, not through magic, but by accessing the probability fields before they collapse and become our physical reality. Remember the river of time again. While most people navigate by looking only at the water surrounding their boat, your awareness is learning to feel the currents coming further ahead. You are not seeing the future. You are feeling the ripples of energy, the frequency of an event that is still upstream before it materializes. You feel the vibration of the next bend in the river. This is a sense of your soul that was dormant. It is your innate ability to navigate the field of creation, not based on what has already been, but in resonance with the flow of potential that creates what is yet to be. And for this new soul sense to operate fully in your life, your physical instrument, your sacred body, must undergo a profound update, a systemic recalibration. Perhaps you've already noticed subtle bodily sensations that come and go without logical explanation. A gentle ringing in your ears in the middle of silence, a strange vibration in your hands or feet, a feeling of energy rushing up your spine, or an inexplicable warmth expanding in the center of your chest. The mind can be frightened by what it doesn't understand, fearing illness. But take a deep breath. This is not a sign that something is wrong. On the contrary, it is the physical evidence that your nervous system is reconnecting itself. It is literally being rewired to be able to perceive, process, and sustain much higher electromagnetic frequencies than it was used to. Think of your body as a radio that for years could only tune into a single station. Now, its internal wiring is being replaced with one that is more crystalline, more sensitive, capable of picking up the entire spectrum of the universe's melodies. And why does this happen? So that you can establish emotional and energetic connections that are far more complex and true. You are moving beyond connecting with others only through the ego, to learn the language of the soul, the telepathy of the heart. Your body is becoming a biological antenna perfectly tuned to the frequency of unified consciousness. Welcome these changes. They are the sound of your transformation. And this inner transformation is so profound that, at times, it even shakes the most familiar image you know, your own reflection in the mirror. Was there a moment, perhaps fleeting and recent, when you looked yourself in the eyes and didn't recognize yourself? For a millisecond, the face staring back at you seemed both yours and that of a complete stranger. As if you were seeing not just yourself, but the echoes of who you once were and the whispers of who you are becoming, all superimposed on the same image. Your logical mind, startled, may have tried to erase this memory, labeling it as fatigue or stress. But your heart felt the truth. You were not losing your identity. You were witnessing your own vastness. You caught a glimpse of your own quantum superposition in real time. Imagine that all your possible versions, the one who suffers, the one who loves, the one who heals, are like transparent photographs, stacked one on top of the other. In that instant before the mirror, the light of your consciousness shone through all of them at once, and you saw, for a sacred moment, these multiple realities, before they collapsed into the single version you choose to be now. That stranger in the mirror was not a sign of danger. It was a reminder. A reminder that you are not a fixed identity carved in stone. You are fluid consciousness, an infinite field of potential, choosing with every breath which version of yourself you will anchor into the physical world. And as you recognize yourself as this fluid and powerful consciousness, a part of you, perhaps the most wounded part, might ask in a whisper, "But why so much suffering until now? Why was my journey marked by so much pain?" I ask you for a moment to look back with compassion, without judgment. Remember the loneliness that ached in your soul, even when you were surrounded by people. Remember the silent pain of grief or a breakup that shattered your heart. The financial stress that robbed you of your sleep. The pain was real. Your struggle was valid. But what if these experiences were not punishments? What if they were not signs that you were on the wrong path? What if, in fact, they were constructive interruptions? Each of these challenges, every tear, every moment you thought you could not endure, was actually preparing the electromagnetic conditions for this exact upgrade in consciousness. Think of the caterpillar. In order for it to fly, it must first completely dissolve within the darkness and tightness of the chrysalis. That process of falling apart, which to the caterpillar must feel like the end of the world, is the sacred alchemy of transformation. Your struggles were your chrysalis, the loneliness, the heartbreak, the existential crisis. All of it was breaking down your old identity to create the energetic space needed for your new consciousness to finally be born. Your past was not a mistake. It was your initiation, and every initiation, especially one as profound as yours, has its moments of disorientation, moments when, in the tightness of that chrysalis, you may have felt on the verge of madness. Were there times when you doubted your own mind, when the synchronicities were so numerous, the perceptions so strange, that you wondered if you were losing touch with reality? Perhaps you kept this fear a secret, afraid that no one could comprehend the vastness of what you were beginning to perceive. I want you to take a deep breath and hear this with your entire soul. What you felt was not your mind breaking. It was your mind expanding, expanding beyond the tight borders of ordinary reality. We were taught to believe that sanity is conformity. It is agreeing with the collective perception, with the beliefs shared by the majority. But true sanity is not about sharing an illusion, no matter how popular it may be. True sanity is the perception of truth. It is having the courage to see reality as it truly is, energy, consciousness, and infinite possibilities. What felt like madness was actually the sound of the walls of your old mental prison crumbling down. You were not losing your sanity, you were finding it again. Your heightened perception is not a symptom of disorder. It is the sign that you are finally waking up to the greater, truer order of the universe. You are becoming truly sane. And with this true sanity comes stability. The storm of your inner transformation begins to calm. The dissolution of the chrysalis is over. Observe yourself now. Feel the stillness that is beginning to settle in the center of your being, a peace that does not depend on any external circumstance. This is your electromagnetic field stabilizing. The turbulent waves of recalibration are becoming a deep and serene ocean. The feeling of being spiritually lost or in constant flux is coming to an end. Your new internal wiring is complete. This means that your quantum leap key is no longer just activated. Now it is fully operational. With this stabilization comes the greatest transformation of all. Your own identity has expanded. Before, you perceived yourself as a body, a form, a personal story that had a consciousness. Now, you begin to feel yourself as pure, infinite consciousness that temporarily uses a body and a story to experience itself. You are no longer the drop of water feeling separate and lost in the ocean. You are the entire ocean that has awakened to its own vastness within the drop. This is your new starting point. No longer from limitation, but from sovereignty. No longer from effort, but from presence. You are no longer preparing for the leap. You are the quantum leaper, conscious and in your full power. And how does this awakened quantum leaper operate? How do you, in your sovereign power, choose the reality you wish to inhabit? The answer is simpler and more intimate than you imagine. It is not through great mental effort. It is through a fine-tuning, a subtle sensation that happens in your body, in the now. Now that your field has stabilized, your body has become your most precise navigation system, your quantum compass. Start paying attention to the silent sensations of change. That gentle tingling in the center of your chest when you contemplate a possibility filled with love. That current of warm energy that rises up your spine when you align with a profound truth. These are not random sensations. They are your biology responding to physics. They are your body confirming in real time your vibrational alignment. The tingling in your chest is your heart resonating with the frequency of a reality of connection. The energy in your spine is your nervous system lighting up in coherence with a timeline of purpose and clarity. And here is the key. As you feel and observe this, you are already selecting. The choice is not a future event. It is a present process. By focusing on the feeling of peace, of expansion, of resonance, you are, in this very moment, selecting and collapsing the reality that vibrates at that same frequency. Your body listens to everything your soul whispers. Trust it. The feeling of alignment is the proof that your choice has already been made. And this perception brings us to the heart of quantum mechanics, to a truth that can relieve the weight of years of effort. Your sacred function is not to create your reality from scratch. It is to select it. For so long, you may have believed that you needed to build the life you desired with the sweat of your mind. This created a burden, a pressure to make it happen, that often left you tired of trying to manifest change, and with the feeling that your energy was blocked, that nothing was flowing. But the quantum truth is gentler and far more powerful. all possibilities already exist now. The version of you that lives in peace, the one that is perfectly healthy, the one that thrives in abundance. None of them need to be created. They are already complete realities, existing as vibrational potentials in the quantum field. Remember the infinite art gallery. You do not have to paint the pictures. They are all already there. Your only power, your only necessary action is the quality of your observation. Effort doesn't direct reality. It actually creates resistance. It is your focused observation, your attention sustained by the feeling of alignment in your body, that illuminates one of those paintings and invites it to become your physical experience. Where you place your presence, you anchor your reality. Therefore, let go of the heavy burden of creation. You do not need to build your future. You only need to choose it through your attention and your feeling. Your conscious observation is the most powerful force in the universe. And perhaps, upon hearing about the lightness of choice, you remember a moment that felt anything but light, a moment of collapse, the breaking point when everything you knew fell apart. Think of your lowest point, the moment of silent pain from grief or separation, the crisis of purpose, or the exhaustion of trying and seeing everything stay the same. That instant when the floor disappeared and you felt completely undone, with no strength to create or manifest anything at all. Where the only thing left was surrender. Now I want you to look at that moment with new eyes. That point of breakdown was not your greatest failure. It was your portal. Your personal collapses were in fact fundamental, as long as you still had the strength to fight and control. Your observation was magnetically locked to the reality of suffering. But in the moment of surrender, when you finally let go, something miraculous happened. You stopped feeding that version of yourself. And it was in that vacuum, in that space created by exhaustion, that your consciousness was given permission to shift. It was the moment when your focus could finally turn away from the suffering to glimpse the prosperous versions of yourself that already existed silently in the quantum field. Your surrender was not weakness. It was the key that allowed you to change frequency. Not all pain comes to harm. Some comes to heal. And what are these versions that your consciousness could finally glimpse in that moment of surrender? Herein lies a truth that frees the soul from any and all judgment. Our mind, trained in dualism, loves to create hierarchies. It tells us that the prosperous version is better than the version that suffers, that the healed self is more evolved than the wounded self. And with that, we can enter a new internal war, trying to erase or feel ashamed of who we were. But the universe does not operate with judgment. In the quantum field, there is no hierarchy. Every version of you, the one who suffered, the one who prospers, the one who loves, the one who felt alone, is equally authentic, equally real, equally valid. Think of the art gallery again. The painting of your pain is not a draft of the painting of your joy. Both are complete expressions of consciousness. What differs? The only variable that changes your life experience is which painting you choose to observe, feel, and finally embody. The reality that manifests is simply the one that is receiving the majority of your observational energy, your focus, your state of being. Therefore, stop fighting with who you were. Honor the version of you that suffered. It was the one that taught you how to surrender. Thank it, and then, with love and without guilt, simply shift your gaze. Choose the next masterpiece you wish to experience. Change does not come from rejecting the past, but from the loving choice of what already exists, waiting for you. And this act of consciously choosing where to direct your gaze, this is the great divide. It is what separates the conscious quantum lepers from the unconscious ones. The truth is, everyone, without exception, is constantly leaping between realities with their thoughts and feelings, but the vast majority do so unconsciously. The unconscious leaper feels at the mercy of circumstances. They believe that life happens to them. They react to events like a leaf in the wind, carried by currents they do not understand. When reality shifts to something undesirable, they call it bad luck. When it shifts to something good, good luck. They do not recognize their own energetic signature in everything they experience. The conscious quantum leper, which is who you are becoming now, operates from a place of clarity and power. You realize that external circumstances are a reflection, not the cause. You know that the world is a mirror of your inner state of being. Instead of feeling like a victim, you enter into a sacred dialogue with reality. You understand that by deliberately choosing your frequency, you are actively selecting which reality you will experience. The difference is not in the power. Everyone possesses it. The difference is in the awareness of that power. And the fact that you are here, resonating with this message, is proof that you have crossed that threshold. You are waking up to your true nature as the observer who chooses worlds. And what is the instrument that this conscious observer uses to tune and select these worlds? How exactly do you adjust your frequency to navigate reality? The answer lies in your own sacred biology, a concept that modern neuroscience is beginning to validate. Think of your neural networks, these pathways of light and information within your brain, not just as an archive of memories, but as the most sophisticated quantum antennas in existence. Every emotional state you inhabit, peace, gratitude, anger, or fear, has a unique electromagnetic signature, a frequency. Your neural networks, acting as biological antennas, are constantly transmitting and receiving on these frequencies. They don't just think, they tune. Just like a radio, they adjust to the frequency of the reality you are experiencing. A reality of abundance vibrates on one frequency, one of scarcity on another. The great revelation is that you are the one who controls the dial. By changing your inner state, by deliberately choosing the feeling of gratitude or wholeness, you are literally altering the frequency that your neural antennas transmit. And by doing so, you change what resonates with you. You begin to pick up synchronicities, ideas, and opportunities that were previously invisible because they were vibrating on another channel. Your job is not to force the world to change. It is simply to adjust your own internal frequency and allow a new world, which already exists, to resonate back to you. This brings us to one of the most misunderstood words in the entire path of manifestation: attract. For a long time, we were told to attract our desires, but this word subtly keeps us in a state of separation. The idea of attracting implies that what you desire is out there, and that you need a magnetic effort to pull it into your life. This creates a dynamic of lack. You are here. Your peace, your abundance, your love are over there. And as long as you vibrate in separation, you cannot resonate with wholeness. That is why the real shift is not about attracting reality. It is about embodying the frequency of a reality that already exists. It's about vibrational correspondence. Imagine that the reality you desire is a tuning fork, eternally vibrating at a perfect note of joy. You don't need to pull its sound towards you. You only need to become a tuning fork yourself and begin to vibrate at that same note. When you do, resonance is inevitable. The sound amplifies, and the two become one. You do not attract love. You become the frequency of love, and the universe, which already contains that loving reality, simply corresponds. You become a vibrational partner to that reality. Therefore, let go of the need to seek. Instead, focus on being. Embody now the feeling of your realized version. In doing so, you are no longer chasing a future. You are allowing a future that already exists to find you, because you too are finally vibrating in the same key. And how do we become this key? How do we vibrate at this new note? This is where we unlearn our oldest and most tiresome lesson, the lesson of effort. We have always been taught to force, to struggle, and we brought this mentality into our spirituality, trying to be more positive, fighting against negative thoughts. But what your soul already knows is that in the realm of consciousness, trying creates resistance. Effort is the frequency of lack. It is the energy that shouts to the universe, "This is not here yet." And the exhaustion from trying to manifest and seeing everything stay the same is a real pain. The quantum leap does not depend on effort. It depends on permission. Think of tuning an old radio station. You don't force the music to play. You simply turn the dial, gently, listening closely, until the signal becomes clear and the melody fills the room. Your job is not to create the music. It is only to find the frequency where it is already playing. Your consciousness is the tuner. Your feelings are the guide. Permission is the gentle, effortless turn of the dial. You do not push reality. You attune to it. You simply allow the new station to resonate through you. So take a deep breath and let go. Let go of the need to fight with life. Let go of the burden of having to make it all happen yourself. Trade the energy of effort for the grace of permission. Your soul already knows the frequency. Just allow it to be found. And how do you know you have found the frequency? What does it feel like to be in true alignment, to have given permission for the new reality to resonate? The mind, conditioned by effort, often confuses alignment with anxiety. It thinks you need to feel an urgent need, a desperate attachment to the outcome. But that is the noise of doubt. True alignment is silent. It is calm. It is not a nervous explosion in your chest. It is an expansion of peace. It is a knowing that descends from your head into your cells, an inner certainty so deep and serene that it needs no external proof to sustain itself. The question, "Is it going to happen?" simply dissolves. And in its place, a quiet affirmation arises. This already is. This profound calm is born from the understanding that you are not trying to get anything. You are simply returning to a version of yourself that already exists. The reality you desire was never out there to be conquered. It has always been yours by vibrational right, waiting patiently for your frequency to correspond with its own. It's like coming home after a long journey. You don't feel anxious about entering a place that is already yours. You simply relax into it. Let this peace be your compass. Calmness is the proof of alignment. That quiet inner certainty, without fanfare, is the sign that the new reality has already recognized you as its legitimate inhabitant. And how can we anchor this inner certainty? How do we take a physical step here in the three-dimensional world that declares to the universe our conscious choice to inhabit a new reality? I now invite you to perform a symbolic yet energetically powerful act, an act that seals your intention. In a moment, I invite you to write in the comments a single, intuitive word that resonates with your transformation. Words like quantum, alignment, consciousness, flow, presence, intention, whatever arises from your silence. This act is much more than psychology. It is quantum physics in action. When you translate your intention into a physical movement, you close an energetic circuit. You are collapsing a potential from the invisible world into the visible world of matter. This declaration through action aligns your electromagnetic resonance. It's like planting a flag in a new vibrational territory. You are not just thinking or feeling, you are declaring through matter your new frequency. It is a quantum command. It is your consciousness using your body to inform the energy field that your choice is final and conscious. Do not underestimate the power of a small gesture made with total presence. It is an act that ripples through the field, reinforcing your new reality. It is your signature on the vibrational contract with the version of yourself that you now choose to be. And this vibrational signature you declare is not an isolated act. It is a continuous state. It is the daily practice of observing your world from this new consciousness. And this is where one of the most profound principles of physics becomes your most practical tool: the observer effect. In quantum physics, scientists discovered that particles of energy behave differently when they are being observed. Energy responds to attention. This effect doesn't just happen in laboratories, it happens in your life, every single second. The observer effect is your daily reality. But here is the secret. It is not just the act of observing that shapes reality. It is the quality of your observation. You can observe your life through the filter of criticism, fear, or lack. And when you do, your observation, charged with that frequency, collapses more realities that correspond to that fear, repeating negative patterns. But you can, as you are learning now, choose to observe your life through the filter of gratitude and appreciation. When your observation is bathed in an elevated emotion, it becomes a paintbrush of light. It invites the potentials of joy, peace, and synchronicity to manifest. Your reality is a direct mirror of the quality of your gaze. Your attention is the most valuable currency in the universe. Where you place it and with what feeling determines the world you experience. And what if you could use this sacred observation not just to respond to your present, but to rehearse and feel your possible futures before even taking a single step? Welcome to your own private quantum laboratory. Your mind, when used from a place of awareness, is the most powerful reality simulator in existence. You can mentally test variations of your reality, gathering guidance about the future before committing to a path in your waking life. How does this work? In a state of stillness, close your eyes. Imagine a decision you need to make, a path you could follow. Don't think about it. Feel it. Step into that timeline. What is the resonance in your body? Is there a sense of expansion and peace, or of contraction and anxiety? Just observe. Now, release that image and imagine a different path. Another choice. Step into that reality and feel it too. Compare the vibrational data. What you are doing is collecting information from the quantum field. Your body, your compass, will tell you which potential future is in greatest alignment with your soul. You are feeling the frequency signature of each future before you live it. This is a sacred rehearsal. In your inner laboratory, there are no mistakes, only exploration. You can feel and choose the future that resonates with the deepest truth of who you are, with the calm certainty that the path of peace is always the right path. And as you explore these futures in your inner laboratory, a fundamental question emerges. Who is this you that is observing? Who is this entity that can navigate between realities? The answer is the final key to your freedom. For your entire life, you were taught to identify with your form. You believed you were a name, a body, a personality, a history. You saw yourself as a human being who possessed a consciousness. But the truth your soul came here to remember is the complete inversion of this idea. You are not a physical form that uses consciousness. You are consciousness that for a time uses a physical form to experience. Think of a dream. Inside the dream, you are a character, living a story. But who are you really? The character? No, you are the dreamer. The character is just a temporary focal point for your consciousness. Your true identity is the consciousness itself that dreams the entire reality. When you identify with the character, you fear the end of the story. But when you remember that you are the dreamer, you can appreciate the adventure without fear, knowing that your essence is infinite and untouchable. Your identity is not your pain, your past, or your body. Your identity is the silent presence that witnesses all of it. You are not the wave, you are the entire ocean, conscious of itself. And when you finally anchor your identity in the ocean and not in the wave, the very nature of transformation reveals itself in its simplicity. For a long time in our search, perhaps we saw healing, peace, and abundance as distant mountain peaks, something to be conquered with great effort. We saw the quantum leap as a rare, almost miraculous event. But when you operate from your true identity as consciousness, you realize the most liberating truth of all. These transformations are not future potentials to be chased. The quantum leap is your natural state. Think of a river flowing to the ocean. The river does not struggle to reach its destination. It does not try to manifest the sea. It simply flows, because flowing towards vastness is its nature. In the same way, when you remember that you are consciousness, your flow towards realities of greater well-being, greater love, greater wholeness is not an effort. It is your natural course. Transformation ceases to be something you do and becomes what you are. You stop trying to leap and simply allow the current of your own consciousness to carry you home to the realities that are already yours by nature. The quantum leap ceases to be a spectacular event and becomes as simple and organic as breathing. It is your new and natural way of being. And how does the universe reveal itself when you see it from this new and natural way of being? The old mind showed you life as a single, narrow, linear road, but your awakened consciousness reveals the truth. Reality is not a line. It is a spectrum of unlimited possibilities existing simultaneously. In this very moment, the version of you that is perfectly healthy exists. The version that is creatively fulfilled and lives in abundance exists. The version that has found a love that nurtures your soul and lives in a state of deep peace. She is not a goal to be reached. She is a parallel reality, complete and vibrant, waiting for you now. Think of them as the infinite paintings in that sacred gallery. They are not drafts you need to finish. They are masterpieces, already hung, already lit. They are not waiting for you to create them with effort. They are simply waiting for your observation. They are waiting for you, the conscious observer, to shift your gaze from the painting of limitation and place your focus, your presence, and your feeling upon them. Your only job, your only art, is to choose which of these lives, which are already yours by divine right, you will activate with the light of your attention. The infinite banquet of realities is served. You only need to remember that you have the power to choose. If this banquet of realities is always available, why do we sometimes feel stuck in a single experience? What stops us from flowing freely between possibilities? The answer is subtle. Attachment. Attachment to our current story. Even if a story is painful, it is familiar. We get used to the I who struggles, who can't, and we defend its limitations as if they were our identity, repeating negative patterns. We cannot move to a new reality while we are holding hands with the old one. This is why the final key to the effortless quantum leap is release. It is the permission you give yourself to let go of the attachment to your limited version. Think of it like changing the channel on a television. To watch a new show, you don't have to fight with what's on the screen. You simply pick up the remote and change the channel. It is an act of release and choice. Attachment is staring at the old channel, complaining about it. Release is letting go of that focus to effortlessly tune into a new one. When you release the need to define yourself by your story, the quantum leap becomes as easy as that. You stop identifying with the show and remember that you are the viewer with the power to choose. Let go of your old story with love and gratitude, and then with lightness, just change the channel. Your new reality is already on the air, waiting for you. But let's take one last step together, a step that dissolves the final boundary. Who is this observer, and what is this reality that is being observed? Until now, we have spoken of you here and the world out there, but this still implies a separation. The ultimate truth, however, is that there are not two. Observation and experience are one and the same phenomenon. Imagine that your consciousness is a source of pure light, and the reality you live is the image that this light projects onto a screen. You are not someone sitting in the audience, separate from the film. You are the light itself. What you call your life is the pattern that your own consciousness is creating. The field of infinite possibilities is this light in its pure state, containing all images. Your beliefs and feelings are the filter, the lens through which your light passes. To change your life is simply to change the filter of your perception. This is why your observation is your experience. They are not separate. They are your consciousness filtering the infinite possibilities and revealing itself to itself. When you understand this, the struggle ends. There is no longer an I trying to change a world. And there is only consciousness experiencing itself in an eternal flow of self-discovery. The feeling of being disconnected from purpose or something greater dissolves, because you and the universe are not in a dialogue. You are the same being. And if you are the same being, what happens when one part of this being, you, finds peace? What happens when one cell of the collective body heals? Perhaps for a long time on your journey, you felt alone, isolated in your pain and in your awakening, as if your battle were yours alone. But now, from unified consciousness, you can see the greater truth. Your isolated training was, in fact, a preparation. You were becoming a stabilizing force for the collective. Think of human consciousness as a great lake. Your inner journey was the process of calming your portion of the water until it became a serene mirror. And what happens when a part of the lake becomes calm? Its coherence, its peace, creates a ripple of stability. It subtly calms the waters around it. Your peace is not just yours, it is a frequency that you now emit into the field. Your presence becomes an act of service. Your internal coherence stabilizes the field for others. You don't have to do anything. The stability of your electromagnetic field is your gift. Your period of isolation was your training to emerge now, not just as someone who was healed, but as someone who is the healing. Your light, simply by being on, already illuminates the path. And this path that your light now illuminates, where does it lead? It doesn't just point to individual healing, it points to the next step in our evolution as a species. For millennia, evolution was a slow process of gradual improvements driven by survival. But your experience, your awakening, is proof that a new evolutionary phase is underway, an evolution of consciousness itself. And this new phase doesn't happen gradually, it happens through quantum leaps. Your journey through the darkness into this clarity was not just a personal story, it was a pioneering act. Your life is the evidence that human beings can indeed operate beyond conventional reality. You prove that we can consciously navigate between realities, align our energy, and heal ourselves from the inside out. You are the map to the future. Every time you choose to become more conscious instead of reacting, you are forging the new neural pathways for humanity. You are demonstrating a new potential, making it easier for those who come after you to make the same leap. Do not think your journey was small. You are not just following a path, you are creating one. You are a pioneer of consciousness, and your silent awakening is one of the keys to the evolution of us all. Your inner transformation is the transformation of the world. And if you, as this pioneer of consciousness, feel in every cell of your being the truth of these words, if this message was not just heard but recognized by your soul, then this is your invitation to participate even more consciously. What we have shared today was the map, the activation, and the remembrance of who you truly are. Now, if you feel ready, we can begin to explore the practical tools for navigating this new territory of consciousness. The first step in any sacred journey begins with a declaration of intent, a yes that echoes in the universe. If these concepts resonate deeply with you, I invite you one more time to anchor this readiness. Declare your intention in the comments with the word that best represents your moment. A word like quantum, awakened, or simply, yes, I am ready. By doing this, you declare to your own subconscious and to the unified field that you are ready to go beyond theory and into practice. In our next meetings, we will dive into techniques for adjusting your frequency, for using your quantum laboratory with mastery, and for stabilizing your energy in the reality you choose to inhabit. Your resonance with this message is your only invitation. If you felt it, you are ready. Declare your intention. The journey of conscious navigation begins now, and as you declare your intention, I want to leave one final truth in your heart. What does it really mean to be ready? Your mind might tell you that being ready means having intellectually understood every concept, but the soul's readiness is of another nature. True readiness is not about understanding, it is about release. It is your willingness to let go of the attachment to your familiar limits, even if they have been your home for a long time. It is the courage to own the reality of your choice with awareness, instead of fear. It is to stop seeing your power as something frightening and to start feeling it as your own breath. It is to trust your inner compass, even if the world outside has not completely changed yet. Your limitless self, the version of you that already lives in peace, joy, and wholeness, is not rushing you. It is simply waiting with unconditional love for you to remember that the door to that reality was never locked. You are not broken. You are being reborn, and your true self awaits on the other side of your permission to welcome you home. The key is already in your hand. Turn it with confidence. Your limitless self awaits you.